In this video, we are going to see how to create this slider using HTML, CSS. We're not going to use JavaScript. This is plain HTML and CSS. As you can see, this is the 3D slider created with HTML and CSS. Now, let's get into the code. To follow along, I'll leave the source code in the description in case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste it and start along with it. Now, as I said, we need image folder. We need some 6 images, and then we need HTML, CSS and JavaScript file. If you have downloaded the source code from the description, this is the file structure that would be there in the downloaded folder. Now let me create from scratch. As I said, we need 3 files. The first one is HTML file. You can give any name. I'm preferring the name index2.html. The extension is important. You can give any name over here. The reason for giving prefix 2 is to avoid name conflict since we are in the same folder. Now we need a style sheet. Let me create a script tag, script file, and then style sheet, control and control S, style2.cs. Now exclamatory tab. The HTML is very straightforward. Let me just copy paste it. We have a main container called slider, and then slider has some children, which is 6 children, which is a span tag with style, inline style. I have created a variable 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and the variable name is I. So each span has a variable named I, and the variable is assigned a value starting from 1 to 6, and each span tag has an image tag, has an HTML image tag. As I said, this is linked to this folder. Inside the image we have 6 images, and the 6 images is linked over here. Now let me link the style sheet. Link style.css script2.js, style2.css and script2.js. Now for all element, let me remove the margin and padding and make the box sizing border box. The box sizing border box is nothing but margin and padding will be calculated to the div's total height and width. Cool. Now let me just show you the HTML, index2.html. This is how it looks. Now call the body, give the background color of black. Whatever is inside the body, I want to be at the center. So display flex, align items will vertically align center. Justify content will horizontally align center. In order for the align item to work, we need to give height 100% of the viewport height. Viewport is nothing but the browser screen. Now you can see it's at the center. Now what we need to do is, we have a slider. Inside the slider we have span tag. Inside the span we have image tag. So let the slider have a height of 300 pixel and a width of 600 pixel. And let me make the overflow hidden so that nothing goes out of the height and width. I want this height and width to be applied to the span as well as for the image, so I'll use height 100% and width 100%. Copy this and paste it. Now I don't want to stretch, so I'll use object fit contain, or you can use cover. Let's fit contain. Cool. Now everything seems fine. Let me add a transition. I'll show you an example for using transition. Now I want this to rotate, so for that I'll be using an animation rotate. It should be a unique name, so my rotate. Animation name, speed, duration, and the amount of time it should animate, which is infinite. Let me define the animation at the rate keyframes. This should be the syntax. In place of identifier, use your unique identifier. Starting from 0%, it should transform, rotate along y-axis starting from 0 degree, and it should end on 100 time frame. It should end on the 360 degree. So this is how it looks. So that works. So let's just make this 4. Cool. Now what we have, we want to look this carousel far away. Just to make a 3D illusion, we just want to make the slider as we are looking from far away. So for that we need to use perspective 500 pixel, and in order for the perspective to work we need to have transform style which is preserve 3D. So this will only work when we use transform. If we don't use transform, this is not going to work. So we'll use the same perspective over here. Now you won't be seeing anything unless you give this transform this these two property will only be applied to the child. So whenever you are doing a 3D rotate to a child, the parent should have these two property. The same way, let me apply this to the span as well, because we want this image to have animation, sorry, the 3D way. Now we need to give animation to this as well, span tag. So before that, position absolute left of 0 and top of 0. It is because all the images inside the span tag need to be overlapped one below the other. So in order for the position to work, we need to give parent position relative. Cool. Now it's stacked one above the other. Let me just show you. If you click on this and make display none, the one which is below will show up. Even if you do display none, the one which is below shows up. So it is tagged, it is because we have used the position absolute. So fine, let me just format this, format document. Cool. Now it's time to give animation to the span tag. So animation rotate along. Here you need to be a little cautious because this is the hardest way to this is the hardest part to explain. Now the same way, linear speed, instead of giving animation, we'll try transform directly. Transform rotate along y-axis, let's say 60 degree. This is how it looks. The perspective is working. Now what we need to do is we have to give the variable I multiply with 60 degree. And I need some space, so translate x 350 pixel. So the problem is we have to make this little larger. This degree is not working. It is because we need to calculate, use the CSS function calculate 1 into 362 into 363 into 360. It will be calculated only with the help of calculate function. Now I have changed this to Z, and let's just make some space, like say 550. And one more thing, the span is an inline element, so we'll make display block. The reason is we need to remove the overflow hidden. Cool, now it's working. Let's just make the duration as 8 seconds. So the slider is working as we thought. So the main trick is we are rotating the slider and we are using the z-axis to the child so that it comes up and we see the 3D effect. So actually this is the container which is rotating, and this is with degree. Rotate along y-axis. If I make this z-axis, it will be rotating this way. If I make this x-axis, it will be rotating like this. It's because of the Z axis to the translate we get some space around the each span. So if I make this 100, there will be less space. If I make this, as I said, the more the space, the more the spacious your 3D slider would be. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening.